Beverly Rhodes has seen it all, done it all, and it's all happened to Beverly Rhodes. And if you don't know it, you're going to know it. There's
Mm.
several broadcasts on my beautiful channel. This lady connects to Bigfoot, also known as Alawan. This lady connects to extraterrestrials. This lady connects to the secret space program. This lady was raised in a horrendous situation with a awful non-father that did things that no little girl should ever go through. And yet Beverly Rhodes is still standing. She's still exploring. She's just come back from months in Florida connecting. We've got video. We're going to show you. We're going to tease you. But before I go any further, Beverly Rose, my love, how are you?
Hi, Danny. Yes, I'm back. Thank you. I'm back in Blighty, and yeah, a bit of a shock with the weather, I must say. But at least I'm nice and warm now, even though it's raining. But yeah, I'm absolutely fine. Thank you. I'm glad, so glad to see you, my good friend.
Ah, I'm so glad to see you too. I know we stayed in touch the whole time. Obviously, you're in, I nearly said Beverly Hills then, in Florida, and on your travels. But it's yeah, it's good. Definitely that. Oh, just saying, the rain today in the UK is awful. It's just awful. I lived in Florida too, as you know, and I remember going outside my house one day because it is this extraordinary heat was just there, and
Yeah.
I remember feeling the air with my
Yeah.
hands because I was convinced the air was going to combust, it was going to burst into flames because it's just so unfeasibly hot, and I
It
don't know
is.
how people survive there. So tell us some of your experiences. What part of Florida you were you in, and how the heat affected you?
Yeah, the heat. I must admit, I wasn't ready for just how hot it actually is. And you're right, the air is like a different air quality. But I was staying with the Muskogee of Florida, so the Indian tribe. I was staying with them, and it is the way that they are able to cope with it. They sort of taught me all sorts of things: do this and do that, and watch out for this and watch out for that. So it was a very quick learning curve, but I absolutely loved it because the Indian people are just so connected to the earth, but they also are able to pick out portals. They're able to see different dimensions. And this is so normal for them. It's just amazing to know the children can see things. The elderly folk, the elders can see things, and it's just so totally different. So it was a very special time, and I traveled around, went to on a vampire hunt to Pensacola. That was fun. Started planning to go down to New Orleans as well, but we did the Pensacola one first, and then went to a lot of the areas where the Indian mounds are, the burial Indian mounds. Went into the swamp a lot with the going and connecting with the Florida swamp ape, the Alawan, which is amazing. And one of the individuals within the tribe, she actually gives them offerings and feeds them. There's a big old oak tree, ginormous oak tree, that they had to take down because it nearly took out one of the buildings. And on that, there was this very flat area, and that has become the area where you put, food and fruits and flowers and bits of little bits of material and that sort of thing. And in good traditional fashion from the UK, I took the UK toffees with me. And I just said, could you put that on there as my offering for them? So I'd leave 4 or 5 toffees each time. But what was very interesting is when we went back there, it was just the wrapper that was left, but it was whole. There was just nothing inside it. And I said, well, where'd the toffee go? But the wrapper's perfect. And so somehow they managed to take the toffee, but leave the wrapper. And I just no idea how they did that, but that was it. So the wrapper was left in perfect condition, just with no toffee in the middle.
That's it's just crazy to think of a beautiful Bigfoot, an Alawan coming along and like siphoning the.
I'm gonna take out the toffee. But anyway, it was, there was lots and lots of things like that. The shimmer in the woods, and when you go down to the swamp, I mean, it's got a totally different energy. And then we saw these big footprints of this huge black cat, because there's like a panthery black panthery thing of Florida. And I just saw these tracks, and I thought, oh my God, that's a big cat.
Mm.
I just said, don't you think we should just rather be getting ready, fixing to leave now? We've still got to drive all the way back to the main interstate and then go wherever. And I'm like thinking, how far is it going to be? This is a big cat. Is the cat sizing us all up for made me their next meal? It's like, oh, yeah, it was
Oh
in
my
some
God.
cases. I don't think it would ever have done anything, but the tracks were very obvious in the
Wow.
mud around the swamp. But
That's
yeah,
crazy.
it was fantastic.
So those that come to my channel on the regular, they'll know who you are. And we had the beautiful Aquana from the Muscovy tribe on with us several times, and she'll be back. And I just want to say hi, Aquana. Lots of love to you, Angel. Thanks for everything you do. And we did a beautiful drop with her, showing us the museum on their land, on the reservation where she and her beautiful family live. And her mother is the chief of the
Yep.
tribe, isn't she?
She's the chairwoman chief, so that's absolutely amazing. And the great thing is that finally they're able to get a government grant to be able to increase the size of the museum. So they're getting lots of fantastic pieces.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's share some of the pictures here that you sent me, my love. So what are we looking at here?
This was the original photo, but it was the one that was in the trees when the this being decided to throw a stone at me behind, which ended up behind me. So you'll hear in the video I switched around because I got such a fright with this big stone coming behind me in the water of the swamp. But this is then where we've got a friend of ours who's able, Lou, and she's able to work out what is in there. So she separated out the trees and separated out everything and then went around the edges of what it was looking like
Yeah,
and then added pieces to it so that it would be more noticeable. And pretty much that's what all of us that were looking out towards where the sounds were coming from, which is like in a middle island, there's a big island in the middle.
hmm.
And the middle island then is the one that we were all looking at. That is more or less what we saw. It's the closest
Got it.
representation that we can do because she had to take all the trees out, but you can
Amazing.
see, yeah,
Amazing. Let's check this out.
this is cute.
Can you hear it?
Yeah,
I love this song.
it's a good song. So this was one of the filming expeditions that we went on. We had to travel quite far actually. We were many hours to go to Driftwood Beach. And Driftwood
Oh,
Beach
good.
is the area that's got all the wood.
Before time marked.
Sorry. Sorry. Let's go back. Let's
Before time marked the shore. The Timuqua walked here with spirits in the sea, the wind, and the wood. There's something ancient in this wood. It reminds me of a leader spiritizing from the sand. Maybe this is how the elementals return. And here is a tunnel of trees. This is Driftwood Beach, 2nd of August 2025. And there is a very amazing energy between these trees here. You'll see as I'm panning across to it now, you will see there's a walkway between them, which is absolutely gorgeous. We're here at sunset and filming as much as we can, but it is absolutely beautiful. It has an unusual, eerie silence about it, apart from the sea coming in and other people. There was a wedding here earlier today. And if we have a look at this section here, we will see it's almost like a tree sculpture reaching into the sky, which shows how unusual the energies are here. Absolutely beautiful place. So this is on an area called Driftwood Beach, and it's Jekyll Island. and the fees are $10 to come onto the island, and that includes all your parking and everything that you need. Energies are quite rife in some areas, particularly up towards the grassland areas where the main trees are at the top. But all of this just provides an unbelievably magical environment and something that you can get close to nature. You can ground, have your 20 minutes on the ground, and look at all these incredible artifacts that have been left by the sea. Very stunning. They're also home to lots of little black crabs, which I can't see any on there now, thankfully, but I did see quite a few earlier.
So good. So good. Okay, let's stop share for a second. We'll come back because we've got more to share in a minute. Wow. So much to cover there, like so
Yes.
much to see and the travels and the depth. And I mean, coming out of Britain, which is so passionately weatherfied, we get every season and every day and to Florida, that's just so incredibly vastly 100%ly different to be living with a beautiful tribe and their beautiful ancient ways that they still practice today. And I know now you're back in England, boring. It must seem a bit dull, being back here after all that loveliness.
It is. It's very quiet, but the good thing is, I managed to bring quite a lot of stuff back with me, and we now have got like about 7 sacks of wood that have been delivered. So we're going to be able to, as of tonight, do a lot of the sacred fires. So I was very lucky. We were talking about the fires, what to do, how to do it, how you lay it, where you need to lay it, what the wood has to be, what you have to say. So at least that I kind of have brought that information back with me when they shared that, which was fantastic. And then we'll just all join together by having sacred fires. So they'll have a sacred fire there, we'll have a sacred fire here, and hopefully the souls will join across the miles.
Oh, that's so lovely. I interviewed the great Jackie Zephyr, and she is the daughter of Golden Light Eagle, Lauren Zephyr, who started the Star Knowledge Conference many years ago and has sadly passed. And Nikki, his daughter, is continuing it. And she brought with her to the broadcast her beautiful friend Jackie Bird. Oh my God, Jackie's voice, a singing voice. And there's a video that I shared where Jackie is with Chief Standing Light Eagle, Lauren. And behind them is what was called Devil's Tower, which is a gigantic tree. It looks like a mountain. We're supposed to believe, oh, it's flat on the top. That's where the UFOs used to land. No, that's where you cut the tree down, motherfuckers, and try to fool the entire planet. And they're singing in their beautiful native. Oh, it's just so lovely. It's so lovely. And they're, the Sioux, the Dakota, the Lakota, the Nakota people. And we went into, very, very different areas that, everyday people that don't have an awareness of the tribes, which you do, they do. And it's so lovely to bring all of that glorious history and land it and ground it back into 2025. It has to be that we bring all the ways back together again now. No more separation. And you saying about doing a sacred fire with Aquana on one side of the world and you on the other, that's just beautiful. It's so, there's nothing wishy-washy or woo-woo or, new age, it's ridiculous,
No,
how
it's just the
they're
way
so
it is.
maligned.
Yeah, it's the way it is. And of course, with the beliefs, and I was very, very pleased because there's a couple of individuals in the tribe that are amazing storytellers. One of the ladies' names is Misty, and she's one of the tribe's anthropologists and archaeologists. And she was telling me, I was very blessed to spend a good few hours sitting and talking with her and understanding, the connection to the Star Brothers and how they bring that energy through in everything they do. And they even in their shells. So if you have a look at my earrings, this is the shell earring that it's been hand carved by Dan, who's the chap that does it. And this is hand carved, and it's got the North Star, and it's got all the constellations and that. And she was explaining to me how all of their ritual fires, they always have a section near the fire which is for the star people. If the star peoples wish to appear, then they can appear and they will take care of them. So there's a huge star connection, and the petroglyphs and everything. I was really lucky to have some time. And then I have obviously Alcana Willow, Two Spirit. She has got a lot of background and a lot of information about the tribe and about the connections and where everybody is, and how all the swamp peoples, all the different tribes of the swamp, because there's more than one swamp, how they're all connected to each other. And this was something that I wasn't aware of. I had a lot to do with the Lakotas, because we were doing work with the Queen's Diamond Jubilee, and they were using my paint horse and my Appaloosa and things. And that's it. And I was able to talk to them about it. And they were saying the same thing. And there's like this golden thread about the Star Brothers amongst all of the peoples. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm. I remember, in the last couple of years, you sharing about your paint horse or painted horse, as in real horse, spotty horse, Appaloosa. We've got many different names across the world, as we know, for these beautiful beings. And then, it was almost like it was a pre-prophecy that you would be then transported and then living with this beautiful ancient tribe. From that to that. So again, there's possibly a crossover with, past lives, which people have them. It's like those that don't, have an ability to accept this magical world that we live in. All right, it's a constructed matrix. We know that. I mean, the ETs are in the constructed matrix too. Make no mistake.
Yes.
But we are all able to access those other parts of us, because to be here right now, it's the most exciting time ever, and we do pull on, our past lives, and it's great. But what are we going to do with that information now? And I see you very much kind of marrying and merging the ancient ways and bringing them to the, sometimes it takes a couple of white birds, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It's like me
that's
hanging with.
my name, Whitebird. That's my not tribal name. It was a name that was given to me years ago, but they've decided to adopt that because you couldn't get somebody that was whiter than I am. I mean, from ice white
Oh
hair
God.
and this lily white skin. And I thought they were just so worried. They said, please make sure you spray yourself. Please make sure that you put on this, because you're just going to be burnt to a crisp because you're so
Yeah.
pale.
It's like, oh, that white woman, don't put her out in the sun, everybody.
Oh, she'll frizzle up. Yeah, this is it. They were
That's so
most
funny.
worried about my parting of my hair because my skin is actually pink. And they were like, oh my God, she's gonna burn, she's gonna burn. So it was, yeah, it was, and it's unbelievably hot. I know you lived in Florida, and I wasn't ready for it when I arrived, and literally walked out of the plane and it goes woof. And it is so unbelievably hot. I've never had, and even when I lived in South Africa, it's even hotter than that.
Mm-mm. I remember in Costa Rica laying on my sofa, and this is February and March, and the
Oh,
heat
wow.
was so unbearable. I was at the top of a mountain, so there was any breeze. I was in the jungle canopy, a fan on me, soaking wet towel on my
Oh,
body, and I was
yeah.
still too hot. But it's a different heat in Costa Rica. But yeah,
Mm.
I'm not, I mean, you've just got to suck it up sometimes, but I admire anyone. And those people that you see out in the desert in their kind of the Airstream caravan type things, I mean, how are they even breathing in those things? Because some of them, they don't have money for air conditioning. I don't know. It's just amazing how adaptable humans are. But, some just perish because they're throwaways. Society throws them away. But there
True.
are others that somehow find that resilience. So I'm happy I'm back in England right now. I'm enjoying the difference in the weather. I don't know whether
Ooh,
I'll live somewhere else again. Maybe Spain. Maybe try Spain out for a bit. Who knows? Um,
Spain's good. Spain's got
yeah,
nice energies. It's awakening. The Spanish countryside and the peoples are awakening. It's definitely they're moving forward and grasping all of this and with great excitement. So maybe Spain's a good one for you.
yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Should we talk about another adventure that you had with a vampire? And those of you who've not seen my broadcast with Beverly, just go to my YouTube channel, obviously Dani Henderson, GISIC conference. And then in this little, you see the little, the little icon, the eye icon, what's
Mm.
it called? I forget, magnifying glass. tap that and put in Beverly Rhodes, and then all of her videos will come up on my channel, and you can go have a look at how deep we've gone on these subjects. And one of them was vampires when you are a little girl keeping watch
Oh,
while women are offering themselves to and their blood
for
to
feeding.
yeah, feeding real life vampires. Oh, it makes me feel so sick and like, ugh, I can, you know what I mean? It's just a place it takes you
It
in your
does.
mind. It's so
It does.
horrendous. And bless you for surviving that as a little tiny girl. But you actually had an experience. So do
We
tell us.
did. Four of us, we all decided that instead of taking the big trip to go to different areas, we had found out that there was a unit of vampires that are in Pensacola. And we managed to do a lot of research and find out where are they seen most, and where do they find their volunteers for feeding. So we narrowed it down to, I think it was about 4 or 5 different streets in Pensacola. And we said, right, we decided we would all go there en masse, and then we would start looking to see whether we cross paths with any of them. And I said, this is what we need to look for. This is what they look like. This is the skin structure that they have. This is how weird their hair is, because their hair is, it just looks like they're plastic, but they're not plastic. And I said, don't, be careful what you are saying in your mind, because they can hear you. And I said, don't be fooled. You can get those that can walk in the day. They can. If they are over 500-600 years old, they can be day walkers. They can walk in the day. You won't necessarily be having the Hollywood ideas of this is what the vamps are. They can't be this, and they can't come into your house unless you invite them. No, that is not the case. They can enter wherever they wish. And so I explained to everybody, this is what you need to look at. This is what the faces look like. But then actually say in your mind, I see you. I know what you are. I know how you are living. And if you don't want to have a confrontation, then walk past us and walk past us in peace. Thank goodness I'd explained that to everyone, because we had to do that. Because he was busy looking for whatever, whether he was, I don't know whether he was looking for, there was a young lady that he was looking at. And I thought, I wonder if he's looking to see whether that young lady is going to be someone that he can either entice or start talking to so that he could have a feed. And I then said to him in my mind, because he looked directly at me, and I said, I see you. I know what you are. I said, I'm the vampire nanny, and I'm the one that used to help make sure that your people survived. I said, just go in peace, walk past us. I know what you are. If you want a confrontation, bring it on. That's fine. And he looked, and he stared at me, and then he stared at everybody else, and then he looked back again, and he was staring. He had this like disdain in his face. I thought, yeah, right, mate. You want to start something, that's fine. There's more of us than you, and you wouldn't want to bring attention to yourself. But he looked like he was about 35, 36 maybe, and he had a very unusual haircut style, and sort of long on one side and sort of razor cut on the other side, but not a wrinkle anywhere. Nothing. No wrinkles, no, nothing facial, no hair on his face. Couldn't see a beard, couldn't see a mustache, couldn't see anything. Very big eyes, and he was just, you could see he was just looking, scanning, scanning, scanning. Totally different. And he was very fixed on that particular young girl who was walking past one of the big nightclubs. And I thought, oh my God, I just hope he doesn't decide to chase after or do whatever. But he did. He walked. We were sitting there. We were watching, and we waited. And then he did exactly what we said to him. We said, we know who you are. If you wish to leave in peace, walk straight past all of us in the front of us, and you will be able to go in peace. But if you want to engage, we're ready to engage as well. And so he stood up, and he was like almost this animatronic type thing. And he walked past us, and we looked, and he looked at us, and everybody was like almost not transfixed, but it was almost like he pushed an energy out to us to make sure that we would not take him on. and we would not, well, obviously we were never going to attack him, but we would not start, start up a conversation with him and start calling him out for what he is. He must have done something, because he managed to walk past us very peacefully, stared at us, and then he literally just disappeared. I thought, where the hell is he gone? Where the hell is he gone? And he was gone. He disappeared round the corner. But then when we went to go and see where he was, because we got up, we went to have a look, he was gone. Gone.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was a very interesting Pensacola vampire hunt.
It's quite terrifying, isn't it? I was sharing with you earlier about a woman who used to be quite a hefty bird, big ass hips, chunky face, and over the last years has kind of dwindled down, 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 almost like there's a parasite, that's
Oh,
just kind of. And then when I remember looking directly at her, and she looked 100 years old,
oh
very
Lord.
kind of, yeah, very kind of corpse-like, like sallow. And then
Oh,
I couldn't find her heart. I couldn't find her frequency.
oh wow.
And it was almost like if her face was here, her body was here. It was so weird and odd and ooh, very kind of vampiric or parasitic,
Yes.
and then hearing you describe that, that's like, yeah, that's what it was like with that woman, you
Yeah.
know. And again, watching the physicalness of someone like dwindle, 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 because that's
Mm.
what happens if something's feeding off you or plugged into you, or yeah, it's really, really interesting. So you mentioned that the vampires can walk around in the daylight, especially those that are 500 or 600 years old.
Yes, they
Can you
can.
could you be more specific about that? And also more like, was the vampire bald? Was he tall? Was he thin? Like, what more on his kind of physical
The physical.
attributes,
He
please?
wasn't bald. He'd had the side of his hair was very, very short, extremely well dressed. I mean, the shirt that he had on had a known brand on it, with like a little horse with a polo thing. And what was very weird about him is that he had so much cologne on.
Oh,
You could
oh.
smell him from from
That's so
where we
gross.
were watching him, because we clocked him and we were like, it must have been
Oh.
really awful, all these eyes, all of us staring at him, but we could smell him from that far away. You could smell him. But what was weird is he'd had his hair brushed over, and he had this like really long hair, but this short hair at the back. So he had this like really funky hairstyle. I think he might have at some point put his long hair in the top in a ponytail, because it looked like that. But he had these piercing, almost like whitish blue eyes that looked like they were like see-through water. And he did not take his eyes. He was staring at us the whole time. And I said to everybody, say to him, we know what you are," because he can hear you. And then he just, you could see he just stood up like this, and he just looked at us, extremely creepy. And he was just under 6 foot, I think, because when he stood up, we had to do that. So yeah, he must have been at least 6 foot. But he was slight. He wasn't fat, he wasn't thin, he was just a medium type build person. But he just had a shirt on, that's it, and a pair of trousers. That's all. There was nothing else. He didn't have a jacket. He didn't have a mobile phone, a cell phone. He didn't have a cell phone. I thought that was weird. Didn't have any of that. That's all he had, is just his top and his shirt and his bottom, and that was it. And he had very, very sallow skin, like a gray, ashy gray type of color. And his lips were like a purpley pink color.
Oh
And
God.
in those areas, everybody kind of, which I came to realize, everybody seems to wear shorts. It's like a Florida a uniform. Everybody wears shorts and a t-shirt and flip-flops, but he was not like that. And he wasn't healthy. He didn't have this healthy glow about his skin. A lot of people over there, I mean, I think that's probably why I stood out like a sore thumb, because I can't go in the sun, and I'm white, but he was not nicely tanned. He had this ashy gray color, and it was almost like when you looked at his face, and that there was not one line anywhere, and it was
Mm.
like very shiny. And I just thought, this is a bit odd. But I don't think he wanted trouble. Definitely don't think he wanted trouble, because I said to him a couple of times, don't think that we don't know what you are. We know what you are. And I said, if you want to, in a confrontation, bring it on. Bring it on. There's 4 of us here.
Golly.
So he was almost like, and when he walked, he didn't walk like a normal person. He like did this, which is quite nice. And I just looked at him and I thought, well, are you gonna engage with your teeth, or are you gonna leave your teeth secured in your head? What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And it was already at a point where the sun was starting to go down, but he had been there watching these young ladies going into, restaurants and clubs and things. What I thought was very weird is where we were sitting watching to see this area, all of those areas that had those restaurants and clubs and pubs, that had a big sign with a mobile phone or a cell phone on it, with a red circle on it, with a line through it saying, no photos, no videos, no nothing. And I thought, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because this is their hangout. No one's allowed to take any videos. But I did take a video as we were walking up, but then I stopped because I saw the signs. But yeah, and you could see he was just a totally different type of person. He didn't smile or anything. He just basically looked flat. And, as if almost like someone was completely stoned out of their bracket, but not.
So gross. Let's have a look at some of the other pictures that you sent me, because there's an image here that is also serving of that. Okay. So we went through these, and
Yep.
now was it in these ones? We haven't done these ones yet, have
No,
we?
we haven't done these ones. So that was when we were. So this is when we were. This this is a picture that was created by Lou, because we sent her the video literally as I was in the car. I said, "Oh my God, you won't believe what happened." Ended up getting a rock thrown at us. So she created this one just to say this is how funny it is. And the funny thing is, when you have an encounter with Bigfoot or Sasquatch or Alawan or the skunk ape, there are 3 types of things that can happen, and one of them is that you hear them grunting, or you hear the noises from them. That happened in this video. And then also, if they engage with you, they do throw things. And you'll hear in the video. I got such a fright because I wasn't expecting a rock to come flying. And then this is the swamp area that we had gone back to, literally days and days and days of it. And this is these beautiful, huge cedar trees. And the section you can see on the other side is where the island is. So, and this is where we were scanning all the footage to see what it was. And there's the footage you can actually see in the trees. You can actually see it in the trees. So this is us, having a look to see what it was. And the other thing we did with these big trees, there is where that large one is, we ended up taking another fallen branch and then hammering, literally sounds, hammering on the trees, because it carries for miles in the swamp.
Here we go.
There.
Wow. Yeah. It was behind this area. Oh my God.
Apologies for the camera work. I was running.
Yeah. Have they thrown something? They've definitely thrown something, but I don't know what it was, but it was behind me. Oh, no. It doesn't here.
Yep. They were on the island.
Oh, hello. Oh, beautiful. I think that was the bird. I think you see where that formation is over there. I think it was coming from that area, and it went plop. Yeah, from that side. It did. That was cool. That was. Oh, we've come to say goodbye. I've got to go home. Come and see you again next year.
And where is this exactly, Bev?
This is in very deep in the swamp in part of one of the main rivers in.
Was it a bat? I thought it was a bat, but yeah, they're very good though.
On the edge of Florida. So it's down near the area called Bruce.
Wow.
And this is where there it is. Yep, there we go.
Get in for the gators. Get in for the gators. Get out. Okay.
Oh my gosh, brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Of course, we'll have Aquana come back on and she can give us again more of the
She can give the real stuff because, you know, she's the tracker. She's the one that kind of, she knows where they are. She knows where to go because she feeds them. And, you know, she has a special offering table and she's been doing this for years and years and years and years. So I was just very, very lucky, but I'd never expected them to engage as much as they did. But it was quite interesting because they waited right up until the end when I'd come back down to that particular area to come and give last offerings, to come and say goodbye, because we weren't gonna, the last 3 days I had to drive, we had to go all the way up to Atlanta in Georgia and do a whole bunch of other things. So the very last day, they waited until the last day to reveal themselves and, you know, to come and take the offerings that were there. And then stop banging on the trees. So we were banging on the trees, and then it was banging back. And then we sent the video off to say, please, can you just scour all of the areas to see if you can actually see the shadows and see what we saw. And we were just very lucky that there's an eagle-eyed person. Lou found it. I found it. There it is. So she was very, very cleverly created, you know, the picture, which is obviously AI. But she did see it, and you'll see she's put a circle of what we've been seeing. So the three things that you need with the sighting is where you've got the growl, which you hear, and then where we were banging on the trees, they were banging back. So we were doing 3 knocks, and it's the knocking. We were doing 3 knocks, it was doing knocking back. And then, of course, I was trying to get across to the island, but water was too deep. And we heard this big bang, and I turned around, and that was this bloody great rock that was thrown. So we've had 3 big things which happened literally the last time that we went down to the swamp.
Oh, that's so fantastic. And it's so wonderful as well, knowing there's just still so much magic, paranormal, metaphysical, natural phenomena that we get to explore, and that is just being so heightened everywhere, everywhere now. It's like, we know, like, step outside, you're going to see ships, you're going to see UFOs, you're going to see identified spacecraft, you're going to, like, it's not difficult anymore. It's all there. You don't need a single person, you don't need a conference, you don't need a leader. You just go outside, deep breaths, in you come. But also there's all the in-between stuff as well. Like when I was sitting with you earlier, and I'm like, one of the tall, maybe 14-foot tall, long, lithe, white, like kind of architect, cedar type, walking between dimensions, just walked through my kitchen. You remember? I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, for goodness sake. Yeah, what are you doing in my kitchen, mate?
Yeah, so I'm busy. I'm hanging out with Bev. Leave, please. Again, and it's important, actually. I know I made a bit of a joke there, but and I said, oh, to you when it came through, I thought, oh my God. And then a few more things started happening. I'm like, right, guys, leave. I haven't got time for you. And the thing is, that is the right attitude to take, because we cannot be in awe of, oh, the great ones. It's like they show themselves to us. They will let themselves be seen, because they know that you're not going to be some dolly daydream going, oh, let me worship you, or nonsense. They need our support. We need their support as we're grounding in and landing. The fact
of course.
that, all worlds are collapsing in together. The whole of the matrix is collapsing in on itself. And what's going to be left is the actual beauty of everything, and us expanding. And it's just so exciting, isn't it?
It is exciting. And I think what was very interesting was one of the times that we were down there, we were in the same place, because we go back to the same place each time to do the offerings and that. And then you end up with these tracks of the big, it's either a big black Florida panther or something like that. Not quite sure exactly what it is, but there was a lot of those tracks. And then you had the three-eye atlas and all of those areas. That energy was coming down, and the download was to those of them that were with us, the tribes, and they were saying that that download is that the Bigfoot and the other multi-dimensional beings that come to the swamp and come to other sacred areas, they are also connecting with those three-eye atlas energies. And it's not, and I was quite surprised because they turned around and said, the three-eye atlas is not necessarily beaming all that energy down just to help the surface dwellers. It's also helping the multi-dimensional beings, because they're utilizing that energy too. So that was a big revelation for me. I thought, oh my goodness, it's not just those of us that live on the surface and those that live beneath the surface, but it's also the multi-dimensionals that are also connecting with that energy.
You know, what's lovely is, everyone is welcome to their own opinion, because that's what we get to do. We get to have an opinion. It's better not to give it to us than us to explore. And I love that, I know and you know that the Bigfoots, the abominables, or whatever you want to call them, the Yeti, the Howley, the Yowie, the Alawan, as you call them, these beautiful beings, the majority they are multidimensional. A lot of them do have craft, and I know that, and I believe that, especially because Sunbow True Brother, who spoke at I think my very first conference, beautiful man, lives out in the middle of nowhere in Canada, French Canadian. His information on them, and he saw their craft, and he was surrounded by, I think the clan, because they move around in clans, was 15 of them, headed up by the feminine, this kind of grandmother energy. And he was communicating with, was it Khufu? Was not Khufu the ascended master, but who's also multidimensional. I forget the name, what he calls his friend. Who has a craft, and it's great to kind of collapse again everything in together.
Yeah.
These are not calling them the skunk swamp skunk and all these awful things, or they smell like death, or just so many mixed stories, and these foolish men going out with their beards and their guns to go hunt me a swamp ape or a Bigfoot. I mean, God, do you honestly think they're not going to smell you coming, buddy? They're going
They
to
will. They do.
they're so clever, they're so brilliant, and they can cloak like the ETs cloak. They move
Yes.
between dimensions, which gives them higher technology skills than us here.
Yeah.
It's not difficult to get your head around it, is it?
No, and it is quite something, because one of the times we went out, a couple of folks had organized a boat to go onto the water to see if we could get further onto the island and that. And the tribe was saying, and I said to Akana, is this the right thing to do? Because I wasn't sure. And she said, well, we'll see and what happens. And we said, no, we'll actually just abandon it. We're not going to go on the boat. We're not going to do any of that, because we just felt that that wasn't the right thing to do. We'll just stand quietly and, leave the offerings, and then we'll just keep coming back and just come when it's the quietest time, when we know it's safe, when there's no gators or coyotes or pumas and all those other critters that are there.
Yeah.
And then make sure that it's just them and those of us with the tribe that went to go and see if we could see them and talk to them, because that's all we want to do is actually just see them and talk to them and commune with them. That's it. And that took right through to the very last day, the last time that we were going out there, for them to decide to show themselves. So, but yeah, no, taking the boat and things like that just was not going to work. If you have to just take your own energy, your own thoughts, your own mind, and just sit there in your own purity, that you do not mean them any harm, and all you want to do is commune with them. And that took 3 months, 87 days of building the relationship, 87 days of building the relationship, and having somebody that knows the swamp so well and knows all the trees, knows the facilities, knows what to do, when to do it, and what is the right way to approach it. And I was just amazed at, you know, how much you need to know and understand before you go into the swamp. You have to prepare, because it's something that is so magical. It's almost like it has that same energy like Stonehenge here. It has the same type of energy, very different.
So lovely. So lovely. Well, it's an exciting time, as I said, and there's always so much exciting intel that you bring on multi subjects. And I think it also encourages others to look more into their own experiences and trust themselves more. And, you know, we cannot listen to the one voice, because that's going back into the old paradigm of worshipping, you know,
Yes,
which I hope at this stage none of us are falling for the, you know, the singular or the go-between, you know, like the Christian, the vicar, the God, or the, you know, the Catholic, the shirt-lifting cardinal and the Pope, and, you know, no, no. And interesting, you know, the name Three Eye. I didn't really think about it. Three Eye, Third Eye, you know, Atlas. Tony Rodriguez, our friend Tony Rodriguez, was put an interesting meme out on it with some cool music. He's good at those things, Tony.
yeah, he's
Uh,
nice and techy. He's a clever
yeah,
chap, that one.
he is. And he was saying, you know, there's so much clickbait on the Three Eye Atlas. And, you know, I think it's truly, you know, what's been said a few times is an explorer energy, a beautiful ancient, you know, that's coming through. Because when I link in, which we can all link in, we can just sit and just imagine. We need our imagination always to bring the information. That's how we get there. That's how we make the
Exactly.
jump.
Yeah.
And when I feel into it, it's gentle, it's male, and it reminds me of my friend David Adair, who has a similar energy with him. And that energy came on a spacecraft that crashed, was retrieved at Groom Lake or Area 51.
Yep.
He went inside this crashed, he was 17 years old, crashed vehicle. He might have been a little bit older, but was working for NASA, unfortunately for him. And he uh, came in connection with this energy, and it entered him, and it's living with him to this very day.
Oh,
And
how
yeah,
wonderful.
her name is Pithalim. And it feels like, and when you've been with David physically, as I have, and interviewed him here, and he spoke at my conference, beautiful man, you can feel her in him. You can
Oh,
feel
wow.
that it's two different layers of energy frequency, and
It is.
anyone can feel it.
Yeah.
And so when I link into that, I'm like, yeah, you know, but again, if it's the very basic, it's getting people who don't believe in other, you know, civilizations off planet. It's getting them to go, what's going on? That's all we need. It's like, hello,
Yeah. Anyone
McFly.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is it. It is, it's very interesting. And the other thing as well, with that area going down to the swamp area, it's quite a long drive.
Mm,
But what is unusual, and I think I sent you the drive going in. The drive going in, there is a portal, then you kind of do this weird jump, because you have to cross over the portal to be able to get to the swamp where the skunk ape or the Alawans are. And when you go in, it takes you ages, takes you like half an hour, three-quarters of an hour to get down to the belly of the swamp. And you have to go through this jump, and you can see everything around you. It does shimmers, and you think, oh, here we go. But then, because the road going out is different, you're out in like 7 minutes. And I'm like, hey, hang on a minute, what happened there?
wow.
And you think, what? Why did it take us so long to get down there? But then getting out, you're out in just a few minutes. So there's this whole change of energy and a change of frequency, and you can feel it, and you can see it around you. And then one minute you're driving, and the next minute there's a deer in the middle of the road, and you have to slam on brakes, and you think, what? Where did the deer come from? Wasn't what you don't see it come from the side, from the forest. It's just there in front of you. It's just appeared. So
Oh,
that whole area is very, very unusual. And then
wow.
we realized that the swamp that we went to is the same level of swamp in Louisiana, and you can actually see where everything connects. And that's the first time when we took the map, we had everybody poring over the map. And then, when you have that realization, you think, oh, bloody hell, all the swamps are connected. And they are. And that's how they're able to move in the multidimensional craft, or however it is they do it. They move through them, and they're not always in one area in the swamp. But then when they do decide to appear, everything is connected to each other.
Wow, absolutely. I saw Big Homie was talking on his theory, and he's fascinating. And I've been trying to get hold of him for ages. We keep going back and forth. So the other day I put in the subject, I went, "Yo, bro, where you at?" I'm like, let me just use his language. And he came
He's
straight
in
back.
Kenya. He
I
was in
know, I
Kenya.
know. And he came straight back. I thought that was so funny. I thought, right, next time I send you an email, I'm going to go, "Yo, bro, where you at?" It resonated, it's
It
so
does.
funny.
Good energy there. Well done.
Yeah, but he's so great. He's so young and he's so experienced in so many different ways. Paranormal, Bigfoot, Alawan, multi dimensions, and he's able to retain a lot of information. So I really do think that because he's in his 30s, and of course he was a bodyguard to Diddy and Jay-Z, and he knows all those hot nut jobs. But he's, to me, a good person who'll be really influential in his age group and younger of bringing people along and getting them to open their minds. I really do kind of see him as, a kind of developing, messenger. I mean, he's already developed, make no mistake, but I'm saying that I think people are going to start really, really like logging on,
Yeah, he's like an educator in a way, which
yeah,
is
teacher.
perfect. But yeah, I think and also if he does go back and he's in America at any time, I'm going to suggest to him that, he takes a trip down to the Muskogee Creek of Florida, because then they can take the trackers out, and Aquana and others can go out with them and say, well, this is what we see, this is the area, this is what, this is the energy. Because, and also that portal that you have to drive through to get there, and it happens every single time you use that road, every time. Because I said, well, when I first got there, I said, well, is it just, unique to this trip? And they were saying, no, every time you go down that road, it happens every time. So he can experience all of that, and maybe he can arrange to go down and go and have a look, because it's really magical. And when you get there, it's something that you can take into your heart. It can live in your heart, and you can then, with your own experience, say, I saw this, I felt this, this is what happened when I was there. And hopefully they won't leave it till the last minute like they did with me, to show themselves and throw a rock.
Yeah, no, amazing. What amazing evidence, though, that you brought. That's so brilliant. Well, listen, people need to know that you are often on the Great Aquarius Rising Africa
Yes.
channel with our friend Chantel Mayberg, you, me, Kathy O'Brien, Rachel
Julie,
Vaughan. Who?
Julie, the survivor from JE, that person, the one with the island.
Oh, is she coming on the round
She,
table with us?
yes, she's coming on the round
Oh,
table on
nice,
Monday with us. Yes, she is. She is.
nice,
So
nice.
that's going to be a good one. So yeah, she's agreed to come, which is fantastic. So yes, I'm on there a lot too, and doing a
Yes.
lot more videos, hopefully over the next few months.
Yes, and that's a really good place again because like I say, obviously we're doing this one now. You and I are friends in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we've got a few different subjects on my channel, but also I always encourage people just go over to Shanti. A, we
Yeah.
need to support each other
Of
out there,
course.
podcasters, broadcasters, whatever. Especially people with bigger channels, because people like you got so much to you. There's so much fascinating information. Again, you're a teacher, a lecturer, in all the great uses of that word, and people need to see. But on Shanti's channel, Aquarius Africa Rising, or ran the wrong way, but you go into other very fascinating subjects, like really, really deep. You did a deep dive on the royals the other day, and so I really do encourage people to follow you and to support you on Shanti's channel too, as well as mine.
It's a lot of fun. I did an unusual one on this. I did a review on the Prince Andrew energy, and I also looked at the Fergie energy. And I did a couple of I drew some pictures of the toroidal field and the energetic field, and explained why the two of them are, they're connected, intrinsically connected, but also at all levels. But I did say on that show about a week ago, I said that he is moving forward, and he will be completely away and ousted. This energy has basically made him a pariah, And now we know today, based on what's in the press, he's been stripped of everything. So it was on its way already. And so we're going to do, I think, a 6-part series of all the different royals. So the next one is going to be, it will be Camilla and the king, and it'll be a couple of others that will do the next one to see where their energies are at.
Oh, fascinating. Fascinating. I miss your days on Sean Atwood when you were just answering quick fire psychic questions. That was the best. That was the best. And then, of course, he got attacked and it was all the
He did. It was
JC
terrible
Jaguar
for him.
nonsense. And they had to take all your videos down. It was dreadful. But you should get back on there and be doing that, because this is what people need to see, this other side of Beverly Rhodes and your incredible intuition and the power, the power that you bring. Clearly, I'm a big fan, Beverly Rhodes.
Oh, you're so thank you. You're so lovely. Thank
I
you
don't
so
think
much.
you get enough credit or airtime. So, you're a person with a lot to give. So, well, let's give the beautiful audience watching your kind of final words of the day for this particular broadcast.
I think the final words of the day is, we are sovereign beings. We have an amazing sovereign soul. Allow yourself to trust yourself now. Don't follow the crowd. Trust yourself. If something feels right, then it is right. Learn to trust in yourself more, because I think we've given our power away for too long. Take your power back.
Absolutely. And tell people how they can get hold of you and connect to your academy.
Yes, well, the Awaken Academy is a website, so you can book appointments on there. You will also be able to pre-book and order my new book that's coming out, which will be Next Level Disclosure. That's due out next year. And then if you wanted to book to see the Muskogee Creek Indians and to talk to them and go through either different types of healing, I'm busy arranging to be able to put that on my website so that you can book that with them as well. So that'll be available soon. Or you can just, send us a message on the official YouTube channel, and then I'll be able to look at it from there. And then Saturday Psychic Live is back up again, and that's every Saturday, UK time, 9 o'clock. And then I've got a healing broadcast now that goes out through Roku TV every Sunday at 9 o'clock, and that's direct blue light healing. And you just put your name in the chat, and I will do the healing straight away, 1-to-1 live.
Brilliant. There's so many great ways that people can connect to you, like you're saying there. And Awaken Academy is definitely one. And they can actually book a one-to-one private session with you, can't they?
Yes, they can, and that would be really nice. But yeah, it's not a scary thing. We have a lot of fun in the one-to-one sessions, and a lot of good always comes out of it.
Brilliant. It's so wonderful. And, because so many people just adore you, and for them to know they can still, because so many people, they move away from being able to do one-to-ones for whatever reason. The mission becomes bigger. You can no longer hold that space, hold that frequency for whatever reason. Some are just arrogant and up themselves, but people like you're like, no, I'm still here. I can still connect and still hold space for individuals. And that's a wonderful thing for people who are in a position of, they might just want to hang out with you. They might want to get your advice. They might need you to read for them, to do healing with them. And, it's available. You are accessible. So that's
it's the trauma side that is my speciality. It's to be able to utilize experience, in how to deal with both complex PTSD and the usual PTSD, because that's something that never leaves you. You just learn to deal with the energies and the frequencies from that, so that when you're going to be triggered, and what you can do in order to lessen that trigger. Because when it does happen, it's pretty severe, but at least I can give you coping mechanisms. What I do works for me, more than likely will work for anyone who's experienced trauma.
wonderful. Brilliant. Beverly Rhodes, thank you, my darling. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So
And we'll see each other soon again, where we'll drag a Quana Willow 2 spirit. We'll get her to come on and say what it is that she's doing and how she does it, and she can maybe bring some of the artifacts that the other one have left for her.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Beverly Rhodes.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dani.
And to the audience, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting and subscribing my beautiful channel and the incredible guests that I have. I always put the information of everyone underneath. Everybody on this channel is accessible, is available for just watching or connecting or whatever it is that we need, our brothers and our sisters and all of us in this time of healing and awakening, taking responsibility for self, growing, knowing when you're wrong, accepting when you're have a lesson to learn, because there isn't a single being that doesn't have something to learn. It's just not possible. If it was, then they're popping off. You pop off when you're done. So if you're still here, you got stuff to learn. So
Yeah, true.
so true, so true. All right. Thank you so much. God bless you all and see
Thank you so much.